Trinidad and Tobago's property tax system has been criticized for being regressive and oppressive. The system, which imposes a fixed rate of 3% of the annual rental value on all properties, disproportionately burdens low-income households. Regressive taxes are those that place a greater burden on low-income households than on high-income households. This is because low-income households tend to spend a larger proportion of their income on taxes than high-income households. In the case of Trinidad and Tobago's property tax, low-income households are more likely to rent their homes than to own them. This means that they are more likely to pay the tax, as the tax is levied on the rental value of the property. The regressive nature of Trinidad and Tobago's property tax system is particularly evident in areas with extreme poverty rates. For example, in the Penal, Deeb, San Juan, Morvant, and Laventil communities, poverty rates are estimated to be between 20% and 30%. In these communities, the additional financial burden imposed by the property tax can push residents further into poverty. In contrast, neighboring countries such as Grenada, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and Barbados have adopted property tax systems with lower rates. These countries have recognized the need for a fairer and more equitable approach to property taxation, considering the varying economic circumstances of their populations. By implementing lower tax rates, they ensure that the burden is shared more proportionally, providing some relief to those with limited financial means. Critics argue that a one-size-fits-all approach to property tax, where both rich and poor individuals are subject to the same 3% rate, perpetuates inequality. Wealthy individuals, including influential government figures like Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, Minister of Finance Colm Imbert, Minister of Energy Stuart Young, and Minister of Local Government Faris Al-Rawi, possess significantly higher incomes and assets than the average citizen. Treating them the same as struggling residents of Penal, Deeb, San Juan, Morvant, and Laventil ignores the glaring disparities in wealth distribution within the country. Advocates for tax reform propose a progressive system, where the tax burden is scaled based on income or property value. This would ensure that those who can afford to contribute more do so, while simultaneously providing relief to low-income households. By implementing a more progressive property tax system, Trinidad and Tobago could alleviate the heavy burden faced by its most vulnerable citizens and move towards a fairer distribution of resources. Efforts to address the regressive nature of the property tax should also focus on comprehensive measures to tackle poverty, improve access to education, healthcare, and employment opportunities. A holistic approach that combines tax reform with social welfare programs would be essential in uplifting marginalized communities and reducing the economic disparities that exacerbate the burden of property tax. As discussions on tax reform continue, it is crucial for policymakers and citizens alike to recognize the need for a fair and progressive property tax system in Trinidad and Tobago. By addressing the regressive and oppressive nature of the current 3% annual rental value tax and implementing measures to uplift the most vulnerable, the country can strive towards a more equitable and inclusive society.